Alright, so we're out here in the cooler tonight and we're processing the pork that we have butchered this week. We're down to our last half of a pig. You can see the videos of us getting to this point on my channel. So this is one of the thirds of the last half. And so now I'm showing you in this video. So this third has your ribs and your bacon on it. And it did have the other stuff we already cut off, but you got to go watch the video to know what that is. So how you get the bacon off the ribs. So this is your bacon. See, that's pretty thick bacon. This is going to be a thick bacon because this is your ribs right here, right? So the bacon, that part of the pig, it lays across the ribs. So if you didn't know where the bacon came from. So now, first what we're going to do, how you open it up, is so at the ends of the ribs, see, these are the rib bones. At the ends of them are little feather bones, and they're very little, and they kind of look like lard, but they're not lard. See, that's what they are, right? So you have to slide your knife underneath them to separate this, right? But you don't want to leave some of those bones into your bacon. That wouldn't be good, right? So as you see, we just cut it and pull it separate, right? So I have a little bit more to do over here. And you just kind of, as you pull it, that was not hard, so that probably is not. And down here, so this is, I can feel that's our last rib bone right there, because then this is soft. So we're going to cut down to the end of it. Like that. Okay. And then that was the last of the rib. Right there. That was the last bone. So right there. So now that is going to be your ribs. Now what we have to do to get the bacon more off of it, we need to turn this over like this. Pull it back like this. Then we're going to take the knife and we're going to kind of just pull back as we slice like this. And just be on top, kind of on top of the ribs, right? And kind of we're going to follow this line. See what I mean? But you're going to have to do it as you go. See, like that. You have to come over here and do it. Like so. Okay, so sorry about that, but me and my husband, we had to switch positions because he's going to help us out here. So we're going to roll the bacon off of the tenderloin. Or the loin, I'm sorry. We already did the tenderloin. This is the loin roast right here done. This like ovalish thing. So we're just keep cutting along. See, you watch. It's kind of like a line. And then your bacon is on that side and your ribs are on that side. And you just keep doing that. And it kind of pulls apart on its own as you are letting the knife follow along the, kind of like a crease. And you just pull it apart. And you just keep cutting and turning if you need to.
Let's grab another knife.
Okay. And now on this side, that is the loin on that end. So the loin. Now from the loin, see, we're cutting it off of the ribs. So, in turn, by cutting it off of the ribs, you will get boneless pork chops. Okay. So, we almost have it separated. All right, so this would be your bacon. Yeah,
Yep.
there's your slab of bacon. So if you ever wonder what a slab of bacon looks like, there you go. Now, we were cleaning it up, and then also what will happen is we will square it up a little bit. That just means trimming off the edges, making it look a little bit more like a rectangle, squarish shape, just because it slices better on the slicer that way. Some people right here, because this is like a weird shape, some people will cut it off right there and, just discard this. Our kids love bacon. We love bacon. So we actually use this part for bacon as well. It's just kind of a different shape. But hey, it tastes the same, right? Kids don't care about that. So we do cut off the end though to clean it up, like I said. But this all will be this bacon from this side of the pig. So if you didn't know, so this was one half of the pig. So each pig, if you had a whole pig and you were going to butcher it or you're going to buy a whole pig, you would know you would get 2 slabs of bacon, one on each side. And also what you can do as well is you can trim off some of the lard to clean it up a little bit. Now for bacon, of course, you would, for us, you would want a good amount of the lard on the bacon for cooking purposes and for taste. So, yeah. Now, for our bacon too, we cure it for about 5 days in a brine that we make. And then it sits in like those gray buckets right there behind the bacon. So our hams and our bacon, we do that. And it sits in that with the wet water brine. It's like a wet brine, not a dry one. And then it sits in there for 5 days, and then we cold smoke it, and then we freeze it, or slice it and then freeze it. So that's how we do our bacon. And our hams, for that matter. Except for the hams won't get sliced until after we've cooked them. But they do get brined and cold smoked. So this half gave us a good amount of bacon. That was a big slab of bacon for sure. And it's looking all nice and all pretty. All right, so we have our you saw the bacon. Now the next part for this first third is cutting off. We trimmed off some of more of the lard because there was kind of a lot here on the edges. Now, of course, that's preferable. If you like that, you don't have to trim that off. We trim it off to add to our lard bag, and then we render the lard. So, that's still a lot of fat right there. So we leave some of the fat, of course. You always want to leave some, but that's kind of preferable. But for us, that's what we do. Then after this fat part is trimmed off more, the next step will be to cut off this loin roast. It's all the way down off of the ribs because we're going to actually have boneless pork chops. Like I said, if you want bone-in pork chops, you would just not cut this off of the rib cage. So it depends on what you prefer. We have done a variety because we've had a few pigs that we've done this week. So some with bone in, some with bone out. All right, so now it's all trimmed up, and now we're cutting it off of the rib cage, the loin. Now, if you want the bones in the pork chops, the only difference is that you will not get the baby back ribs. You'll still get spare ribs, but you will not get baby back ribs. So because we're cutting it off and we're going to have boneless pork chops, we will get baby back ribs and, that was backwards. Just spare ribs. If you keep the bone in, you will get both.
No.
Hold on. All right, sorry about that. A little confusion. So I was right the first time. What we're doing now, we're cutting the loin off of the ribs cage to have boneless pork chops. When you have boneless pork chops, you get baby back ribs and spare ribs. Now, If we did not do this and you wanted the bone inside your pork chop, all you would get is spare ribs because that baby back rib bones would be in your pork chops. And we would have to use the meat saw to cut that. But we're not going to do that with this one. Like I said before, we have done the variety, so we have some with it and some without because we've done a few pigs this week. But you can just, that's preferable what you want to do and how you want it. And then also we get a loin roast at the end of the loin because it kind of goes out like that. So we will cut off the end for a loin roast, which is really my favorite type of pork, are the roasts. And then we will slice the pork chops. You know, as many as there is. And of course, when you cut pork chops, you can do it to your likeness for thickness. I don't like too thick of a pork chop. So there's that right there.
Okay.
That's the loin. So now now we're going to come over here to the meat saw to cut the roast off, like I told you at the end.
Then we'll cut these ribs out too.
And then we'll cut the ribs off as well.
Baby back.
There's the baby back ribs and the spare ribs. And the roast is over at the table, which we'll take you to now. Okay, so here are the spare ribs, baby back ribs, and our roast. And then this is our loin that we will cut into our pork chops. Now for the ribs, your last step for the ribs is you need to pull off this membrane. It's on just one side of the ribs. It's just this membrane. So you just take your knife. See, it's just like that. I don't know. It's just a membrane. But you just pull it off. So easy. You just take your knife and you just find a bone and you just kind of slide your knife under. Wiggle it a little bit to get it started until you can get your hand under it. And then you can pull it. Pull it off. If you leave a little bit of it on there, it's not going to hurt anything. But you just want the majority of that off. Of the ribs.
Well, that's troubling.
Okay, so now this is that membrane off of the spare ribs, and we're just pulling it off. Like I said, sometimes it comes off in pieces, sometimes it comes off just a big piece. And it's okay to leave a little bit if need be, or if you missed a little corner or something. That's okay. No problems. So there we go. So there are your spare ribs, your baby back ribs, and our roast. Now I'm going to show you us chopping or slicing our pork chops. because we don't have to use the meat saw because this is boneless pork chops. So we, like I said, don't like too thick of pork chops, just a good medium size. So we just slice them. Now these are not humongous size pork chops. We have had bigger ones in the past, so we will probably package them in 4s. Sometimes if they're bigger, we package them in 3. Of course, again, packaging is personal preference depending on how big your family is or how much you want in the package. So that's just what you do. So, all right, well, I'm going to end this video, and check back if you want to keep watching us do the second and third thirds of this half, about what kind of cuts you get out of those parts. So we really appreciate all of our viewers and subscribers, and please subscribe. Even if you watch the channel, please also subscribe, because it doesn't cost any money, it doesn't do anything, but it helps us tremendously to be able to bless others with God's blessings. So have a blessed night. Bye.